From the very first day of rookie minicamp, it became clear to many inside the Giants organization that Jackson Dart wasn't what they had sold themselves in the draft war room. The arm strength, average. The command of the huddle, tentative. The footwork, inconsistent. And most importantly, the presence. The quiet authority that a starting quarterback must exude simply wasn't there. These weren't the kind of issues that resolved themselves overnight, and certainly not the kind of fan base like New York's would wait patiently for. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Meanwhile, just a few states over, Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback they had passed on, was doing everything right and making the Giants' decision look worse by the day. In practice footage leaked from within the Browns camp, Sanders was reading defenses, throwing accurate balls under pressure, and commanding respect from veterans. Coaches weren't whispering about his potential. They were openly discussing his leadership, the way he made others better. By contrast, Dart was struggling with basic coverage recognition. He missed a wide-open seam route in red zone drills that led to a heated moment with a veteran tight end. What frustrated many inside and outside the organization was how preventable the situation had been. Sanders had everything Dart lacked: a calm demeanor under fire, precise mechanics, and most of all, a maturity born from a lifetime immersed in professional football culture. He wasn't just Deion Sanders' son. He was a quarterback who had studied film since middle school, who walked into every situation like he'd been there before. Even opposing coaches during college had described him as a professional in a college uniform. And yet, the Giants had fallen for a dangerous myth: the Josh Allen comparison. Every year, the NFL draft is littered with quarterback prospects dubbed the next Allen simply because they have a big arm and a few off-script plays on tape. The problem is that Josh Allen is a once-in-a-generation outlier. His development wasn't linear. It was exceptional. He went to a team with a patient coaching staff, an elite defense, and a plan. Dart had none of that. The Giants were rebuilding their line, lacked explosive weapons, and had already burned through multiple offensive coordinators in recent years. It wasn't a situation that nurtured growth. It demanded immediate results. And Dart, for all the comparisons, simply wasn't ready. It wasn't just fans or media raising concerns. Inside the locker room, doubts were surfacing. Some veterans, already on short contracts or nearing retirement, questioned the pick privately. They wanted a quarterback who could help them win now, not one who needed 2 seasons of development. One unnamed defensive starter, when asked off the record about Dart, reportedly said, "He's got tools, but tools don't win games. We needed a quarterback, not a project." Contrast that with what was happening in Cleveland. Sanders was walking into practice every day like he was a starter, even when he was taking third-string reps. He knew where every receiver was supposed to be, where the pressure was likely coming from, and how to control tempo without losing rhythm. When he threw, it was with confidence. When he spoke, teammates listened. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He was trying to be the guy. And slowly, the Browns were starting to believe he was. Giants head coach Brian Daboll was feeling the heat. The pressure cooker environment of New York media was unforgiving, and every misstep from Dart became a headline. By the end of week 2 of the preseason, questions were being asked daily. Was Dart really the best choice? Could Sanders have been the better fit? Why did the Giants ignore so many scouts' red flags? Daboll, a coach who made his name developing quarterbacks, tried to downplay the concerns. "We like what we see in Jackson," he said at a press conference. "It's a process." But fans had heard this before. They heard it with Daniel Jones, with Davis Webb, with every other quarterback who was supposed to be in development but never quite reached the peak. And then came the first preseason game. Dart got the start. His stat line? 6 of 16, 58 yards, 1 interception, and a near fumble. He looked overwhelmed, rushed, and panicked. The offensive line wasn't great, but Dart wasn't helping. His reads were late, his throws tentative, and that interception? A miscommunication that shouldn't happen at the pro level. Meanwhile, later that same night, Shedeur Sanders went 8 of 10 for 110 yards and a touchdown. He ran the offense like a seasoned veteran. Fans noticed. Twitter exploded. What were the Giants thinking? Sanders looks ready. Dart looks like a project. Dion must be laughing. The comparisons were relentless. And they weren't coming from fringe accounts. They were coming from analysts with Super Bowl rings, former GMs, and respected scouts. And all of them were pointing to the same thing. The Giants blew it. As the regular season drew closer, the situation worsened. Dart's confidence appeared shaken. In joint practices, he was outperformed by backups. He seemed to know the scrutiny he was under and began overcompensating, trying to force throws, hold on to the ball too long, or scrambling too early. That's the thing about New York. It doesn't just expect excellence. It demands it instantly. And once the crowd turns on you, it's hard to get them back. Inside the Browns camp, Sanders continued to do what he'd always done: work. He wasn't celebrating the Giants' failure or dunking on their mistake. In interviews, he remained gracious. When asked about being passed up, he said, "I ended up where I was supposed to be." But his play was louder than his words. Coaches praised his work ethic. Teammates praised his preparation. And quietly, the league began to notice. By week 3, a major network's power ranking of rookie quarterbacks listed Sanders at number 2, behind only the top overall pick, and placed Dart at number 7. The gap wasn't even close. The Giants had hoped to reset their franchise with a new face. Instead, they might have just rebooted another cycle of instability. Ownership was reportedly unhappy, and internal sources indicated that if Dart didn't show significant improvement by midseason, the team might look elsewhere, perhaps even try to trade for a more established name. But the damage was done. The fans had already picked their side, and it wasn't the guy wearing blue. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders was quickly becoming one of the most marketable rookies in the league. His jersey sales skyrocketed. National brands came calling. And through it all, he remained focused, humble, and sharp. The NFL isn't just about arm strength anymore. It's about culture fit, leadership, and readiness. And on all those fronts, Sanders was delivering. What happens next is anyone's guess. Maybe Dart finds his footing and silences the doubters. Maybe Sanders faces a setback and reminds everyone he's human. But as of now, one thing is painfully clear. The Giants pass up a leader for a lottery ticket. And in the NFL, where every decision is magnified and every misstep is costly, that a gamble that could define their future for years to come. In the end, it's not just about whether Dart succeeds or Sanders thrives. It's about what this decision says about the Giants as an organization. Are they learning from the past or repeating it? Are they chasing trends or building for stability? And perhaps most importantly, are they willing to admit when they got it wrong? As the regular season approached, the spotlight on the Giants intensified. New York is not a city that waits patiently. And the media scrutiny turned from questioning Jackson Dart's performance to openly criticizing front office's judgment. Headlines across sports networks asked the same question fans were shouting from the stands. How could they pass on Shedeur Sanders? The front office, led by the embattled general manager, attempted to control the narrative.